Hi guys, Cody here. I decided to make another vlog post. So this time, this was actually inspired by a conversation I had with one of my students. So we just happened to be talking about driving because my student took a 2-week trip to Austria and then Italy, and he drove from the former to the latter. So just got us talking about comparisons, especially in the roads in Italy, which in Austria, which he said were a ton nicer than what you find here in Russia. And it seemed like deja vu because I had previously talked about this with another student, actually at the same company. It's the Russian equivalent of Google. It's called Yandex. If you're Russian, you may know it. If you're not, well, just look it up. They actually are very, very helpful. And as a side note, I do recommend them for everything in Russia and the former Soviet Union. So anyways, we're talking about how psychotic Russian drivers are in particular, especially when you compare to the ones you see back home. And don't get me wrong, I am not 100% defending the quality of drivers back in America. Just, in my experience, yeah, I mean, they are a bit nutty, just not to the extent you see here in Russia. Admittedly, that might just be limited to the big cities such as Moscow, one of the biggest cities in the world, and maybe even St. Petersburg, the other big city in Russia. So just to start out, a fun fact for you guys, I've looked this up for research purposes and I actually wrote about it in my blog, is that in the year 2014, 500,000 baseball bats were sold in Russia with a total of 1 ball and 1 glove. So, road rage is a very, very big thing here in Russia. And if you've ever taken a look on YouTube, you'll see a myriad of videos chronicling this rage and other just horrible driving skills in Russia. So, I think what we agreed on with this student and the other student in the same company was that because, in Russia, the restrictions, are a lot lower, especially when we compare back home. So for your non-Americans, what it is that at age 15, I think they might have changed it a bit. Honestly, I don't remember. It's been a very long time since I took it in school. Is that you're entitled to get your learner's permit. But before you do that, in your sophomore year or second year of high school, so grade 10, you take a course in school. So they teach you in school just the basics, what to do on the road, the signs. So at the point, maybe about 15-ish, you can, 15 and a half maybe, again, I don't remember, which, I'm a horrible driver, horrible student, just can't remember it. So you take a test to get your learner's permit, which I just mentioned. And so for this, it's 2 parts, a 10-question part. If you get any of them wrong, you fail. Just go home, take it all again at a different time. This is about the symbols, recognizing if you're driving, you see stop, merge, accident, unsafe. So if from what I remember, there are many different parts to this. They actually like 20 different signs. Yeah, it's a lot to know. But once you pass that, you move on to the second part. And again, this is to get your learner's permit, which I'll explain a bit later. So the second part, I think it's like 40-something questions, 45. There's a certain percentage you need to pass. So but fortunately, once you hit that percentage and say, okay, you're done, you passed, you get your permit. You go up there, you sign it, you get it. And this entitles you to drive with at least one person who's 18 or older. And just talking to my student, this doesn't exist. Because surprisingly, the driving age is 18 in Russia, which I think has a mixed blessing because, as I hypothesized with my students, is that we basically have 2 years of experience on Russian drivers, so that we kind of know what to do. Hopefully, we got the accidents out of the way. Not me. I haven't had anything yet. knock on wood. But then when you're 16, you get your license. You take behind the wheel. Before that, you need about 40 or so hours on the road. So again, you build up that experience. And then in Russia, you really don't have that. Again, from what I've gathered, talking with these guys. And you know, the implication that some people may just outright bribe their instructors, say, hey Slava, I'm going to pay you some amount of rubles. Pass me. Yeah, fine. Go ahead, man. You're good. And which leads me to my next point, because you've seen some batshit insane driving. So the experience I like to tell is that you know, I didn't generally go on Metro to get to places because it's easier. There's free Wi-Fi. You don't have to deal with the crazy drivers. But from time to time, I need to take a taxi. Just maybe I'm late. Just know the Metro would take a bit longer than I need. Whatever. So I was going to hockey training Saturday morning. About like, I don't know, like 10:45 in the morning. And so I get this guy, and one thing I should know is that there's a stereotype in Russia. You know, a lot of the taxi drivers, they aren't Slavic, meaning that they're non-Slavic Russian, which is a whole other story, or they're from the former Soviet Union, so different republics. Meaning these guys, you know, may not have had as stringent as requirements that we're used to and really should be used to put in place. So this guy, you know, was a good driver. Otherwise, should have took about 10, maybe 15 minutes at most, given traffic. And so this guy was going in the corner about, Jesus, like 40 miles an hour. It's like a curve, like I was kind of flying in the taxi. And I mean, if you guys see the movie Blues Brothers, you know, you kind of know what I'm talking about in terms of the driving. So unfortunately, these roads, you know, there's not a lot of people who take the back roads to get there. And then, so, you know, I was, on the one hand, you know, I was appreciating the fact that he got me there fairly quick. Not that I was gonna miss practice. But I was thinking inside, like, oh geez, like, is this safe? I mean, thank God I had a seatbelt on. Then so what happened was, to get to the rink, you had to take a right turn. But you know, it's, you know, in a lot of, you know, countries outside of America and maybe civilized Europe, or actually, which is a bit unfair, just Europe. You know, you use your turn signals. Like, you actually use them. So this guy, he was in the lane, not next to the one that we had to merge onto to turn. This guy comes in at a 45-degree angle. So yeah, like that. So he's basically straddling 2 lanes. The thing is, like, I mean, literally, this guy was like inches away from rear-ending the guy in front. You know, no turn signal whatsoever. He just barged in there, did whatever he wanted. That's the story I like to tell. And so, you know, safety is a suggestion. Turn signal is also a suggestion. So it's, if you're ever going to come to Russia, you'd be prepared to see some, you know, wild stuff. 2 more stories I like to tell is time how I travel. My blog, Wandering Barbarian, reflects that. So I was thinking to Sheremetyevo Airport, which is in the north of Moscow. It's in the Moscow region. Normally what we do is we circle around to kind of avoid the traffic. And so this time I was going home. So I took the taxi early morning just to get a flight so I get home sooner. So normally, instead, you know, as I just said, you know, instead of going around Moscow to get to Sheremetyevo Airport, north, this guy went through Moscow Saturday morning, Moscow City. And I was very antsy with the guys. Like, yeah, no, we'll get there. It's fine. So I mean, long story short, we did get there. I was just very, very nervous. I'm thinking, is this, you know, you're spending way longer in traffic than you needed to. I mean, come on, man. Second one is I was also going to Domodedovo Airport in the south of Moscow, a bit further away. So about halfway through the journey, this guy looks at me. He's like, basically asked, like, do you mind if I smoke? I'm like, yeah. So this guy just opens up, starts smoking, rolls down the windows, like, just the smoke coming out. Yeah, so it's wild, it's crazy, but I think it actually is endearing to a certain point. You never see this back home, but I guess that's why it's so endearing. Just the novelty value of almost dying and having guys who are a bit crazy, a bit mental. Yep. So that's just it. Just wanted brief stories about this. Want to get it off my chest. So if there's any comments or concerns or about things I just said, want me to clarify things or maybe talk about something different, please leave them in comments. I'll try to make a video about that. Thanks guys. Cheers.